everybody. Happy new week. I'm here with another one of my amazing inspirational authors, Lili-Ann Kriegler, and she is joining us today. Look at that beautiful background, Lili-Ann. You've got your banner there. You can see her book, Edu-Chameleon. I just absolutely love what you've done. You and I met about 8 or 9 months ago. We worked out.
Yeah, July last year.
Yeah, right. And so much has happened, and you have done so many things since then. You know, and I'm truly impressed. And you're also already, you know, kind of going to start thinking and working towards your second book, which we'll talk about later on. But thank you for taking the time this morning to be on this live with Nat. And we're going to explore the thinking 3 in between, right? I love it. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce you properly and officially, and then we're going to get into all the chit chat that I love picking up tips from my authors, and then I go into my life and I start to implement things with my family or in my business and all that kind of stuff. All right, so here we go. Lili-Ann Kriegler is a first-time author and a long-time educator. She has taught at all levels from toddlers to adults. Her expertise is in early childhood education for children 3 to 9 years of age, leadership and enhancing thinking skills for people of all ages. That's what I'm interested in, thinking skills. Yes. Lili-Ann's book, Edu-Chameleon, focuses on a situation in early education where there is a plethora of conflicting information. Teachers are often asked to choose between learning or play in a binary way. They end up with decision paralysis. This results in many lost opportunities. Lili-Ann has reframed binary thinking in the early years so that teachers can feel relaxed about their choice to either give children extensive freedom or to confidently and prescriptively teach them what they need to know. Her book reframes binary thinking and offers teachers 7 dynamic ways to relate to children, even with different goals and methodologies. So today's topic for discussion is called Think 3 in Between. And when I saw it, and I wonder what, I mean, I know she's got all this cool stuff she's going to teach us, but what does this 3 in between mean? And she explained it's like in many situations we appear to make a choice between A or B. Often this decision relates to a fear that is not really visible at the point of making the decision. So what Lili-Ann is going to explain today is how to go deeper and examine the basis of the choice, unearth the fear or the underlying issue, and then think of 3 different creative solutions between A and B. So this way you end up with A, B, C, D, and E options, and a greater and better understanding for more creative and outstanding outcomes, right? So I'm very curious about all of this, because even though we just read the fact that you've helped people, you mostly focus on the 3 to 9 year old bracket. I want to see how this applies, obviously, to adults and to families. So tell me a little bit more about it.
Yes, well, Nat, you know, in your introduction, and thank you for that, you spoke about the fact that I've been an educator for a very long time. And what I found very often is that teachers get advice, they get a choice of A or B. And one of the current issues in early education is this belief that children learn through play, which is absolutely true. But what does that really mean? I mean, does that mean that we need to leave children absolutely on their own to play and expect them to learn everything that we want them to? Or do we teach them what they need to know? So teachers either get on the bandwagon of, yeah, let's let the children play, or they get on the bandwagon of, we have to teach them or they're not going to know anything. And that is what I've described. It's a choice of A or B. And so they start to feel like they don't know what they need to do. So after working with many teachers in different situations across my consultancy, so I was a classroom teacher for many years and a director of early learning in school, but I've been an education consultant now for 9 years. And what I've encountered is that, you know, the teachers are doing either the one or the other. So I thought we really have to engage with this issue And there are so many different ways that you can be with children in between, just allowing them to be freely playing on their own or prescriptively teaching them. So what I devised was 7 different relationships. And what happens is you give the child complete freedom to do exactly what they want to do and follow all their goals in free play. In the prescriptive teaching, you determine what you're going to teach. But in between, there's other things like you might guide their play just through a question or by providing a new piece of material, or you might provide equipment specifically with concepts embedded in it so that they discover what you want them to know. So you haven't taught them, but through their play and their activity, they discover something specific that they might not have discovered if they were just free playing. So I'll talk about the 7 different stages later, but how does this apply to everyday life? And the fear that the teachers were feeling was, we are going to do the wrong thing by the children. We're going to take away their creativity, or we are going to impose our will on them, and they won't have a sense of agency. So that's the fear. But in life, very often, I mean, even in our COVID situation, our state government had a choice. Do we lock down? Don't we lock down? So that's A or B. So if you've locked down, you've taken away a huge number of opportunities for the whole state. Or, but could there be the think 3 in between? So what are the things where, and I think they have come up with these solutions, like we're locked down a specific area, we'll give the different areas colored codes, so that you actually have the ability within your thinking to come up with solutions that suit more people. They're a lot more win-win situations. In the same way as the children win more, or the teachers win more, people win more when you actually think through things. And, the minute you provide other solutions, you broaden to 5 possibilities rather than 2 or 1, because actually when you make it the A or B, you're left with 1 choice. Yeah. That was the thinking behind the book, was to give the teachers the absolute confidence that if they chose any one of these different 7 things, they knew what they were expecting from the children. The children had a degree of agency and freedom, and then they knew at the end of the day that the education would happen, that the children would be learning the concepts that were required in the maths or in the reading learning, or even the younger children just learning language and concepts and understanding the world around them. Yeah,
amazing. Okay, so I want to know, how do we develop that resourcefulness? It is about being resourceful. And is it the 7 dynamic learning zones that you talk about in the book as to how you tap into that?
How I tapped into it, how I came.
Yeah, how did you come about it? Like, I mean, of course, with the example you gave around COVID, it makes total sense, how that has evolved and happened around us. But how did you come up to those, unpacking the 7 dynamic learning zones?
I think a lot depends on having a very good global view of what you're trying to achieve, understanding what some of the difficulties and the problems are and what the issues are, and then in a quite systematic way analyzing the problem. So if you see the cover of the book, I've actually used almost a mathematical idea. It's pretty much like a pie chart, and each of the different zones will show like how much freedom the child has. So the bigger the piece of pie, the more freedom the child has, and the further away from the educator goal. But you can see there's one really, really tiny. So I'm trying to create almost a spatial representation of this. And in that very, very small zone, it's not less important than this zone, but it means that you are much more, your intention is much clearer, and the children's choices are shut down to one thing. So over time, you'd be implementing all of these. And I suppose the way I came up with it was just grappling with, you know, how in the classroom from day to day, am I working with children? What do I see other teachers doing? What is effective? And then listing what are the actual features of each of these things. So, you know, if free play, I think everyone knows what that is. You leave the children alone. With mediated play. So I was thinking about what are the ways that I would get involved in that situation. So I would either add another tiny piece of equipment. I might suggest that the children go to a shelf and collect different colors of paper to add to their thinking. You know, but I'd always ask them what they were doing. So there's a situation of coming into a situation where your gaze follows what the child is doing, and you build on that. In another situation, you bring in the children to your gaze and you do. So the way I came up with it was to very carefully analyze the different zones. And so the zones are free play, mediated play, embedded concepts. So you've put out materials and you know already what concepts are within those things. Then we get to concept clarity, which was that tiny little spatial zone where we have to know that the children understand something. Then I've talked about closed-ended mobilization. And this means you've given the children a task, you know the outcome, and you want them to get there. So you help them to problem solve through something to come to an answer or a conclusion or an outcome. Then there's open-ended mobilization, where they're using all this knowledge, but they can come up with the solution, any solution on their own. Kids love this. They love to not be told how to solve a problem, but they need the experience of going through closed-ended problem solving so they know how to do it. So you go from that, giving them a specific outcome, to opening it up for them, giving them freedom. And finally is what you see in the classroom when children become really competent at something, is auto-generative creativity. It sounds big words, but really it means your creativity, or the children's creativity, young people's, has come from their own thinking, their own planning, and what they're producing, you had no idea. You know, they've done it all on their own. So in the book, I describe the features of each of these.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you've got a lot of stories and examples of how it worked in classrooms and all that. I know a couple of people saying, where's the book link? We will put up the book link towards the end of the call, towards the end of the live. I know you guys, even if you look it up online, you'll find Edu-Chameleon now is available on all your good stores, but I'm sure Lili-Ann would happily sign it for you and send it off.
Absolutely, I'd be delighted. I love teachers. My belief is that the one thing that makes a difference to a child's education is the teacher. You can talk about, I mean, and John Hattie is a very, very famous Australian, very reputable researcher, and that's his belief as well. You know, classroom size, all of these different things, they're insignificant in relation to the impact that a good teacher, I'm trying to think of the word, empathetic teacher, having empathy, having the willingness to see your student as an onion. Sounds like a weird thing, doesn't it?
Yeah, totally.
But if you really want to understand the child, you need to start peeling off what are the, you know, what are the, if there are difficulties, what are there? If there's strengths, what are they? So you're trying to peel back and find out what is the thing that motivates this child. And then you have the flexibility to create a beautiful environment in the classroom.
I was going to say flexibility, absolutely, because you'd have so many different children. And
yes, well, that's what the chameleon is about. So, you know, you're the Edu-Chameleon, you're the one who's agile, And so you notice what's happening at the moment in the classroom and you think, oh, I know what this child needs. They need a bit of mediation, or they need another piece of equipment, or they need a strategy. And in each of these different places, you will know what to give them. So that's the flexibility, and that's, I would love teachers to be agile and to understand their craft well enough to know exactly where they are. So that, yes, flexibility is what it's all about.
Yeah, and the book is targeted at teachers, but you're saying that also families and parents can get benefit.
Yes, I think even this book would be good for parents to read, because the whole first half is about language and concept development.
Yes.
You know, really in life, words are not just words. How you communicate and what you say to children can change their brain.
Yeah,
it can change actually who they see themselves to be. So, you know, even your gesture, and even if you have a look at think three in between with your own children, rather than saying, no, you can't have ice cream or whatever, you can think about it. So that's a yes or no.
Yeah.
But what are the other things? So you can actually put in place, you know, in your family, a special night where ice cream is the real deal, and it's the one thing that you can have on that day. I know you take your children out for special treats and that. I know.
I know, but we do have ice cream night. You know, the kids often, is tonight ice cream night?
Exactly. So that is somewhere in between A and B, and it gives them the ability. Maybe they participate in the decision about when is a good ice cream night. Is it good the night before you go to school, or, you know, so it in your own family, this kind of thinking of creative solutions. What is the fear under this? You know, is the fear that your child's not going to have a healthy diet? Is the fear that your child's controlling you? What is under this, you know? And then, like the onion, start peeling back. What is the problem? What is the real fear here? And it's got nothing to do with a child having ice cream in that moment.
Yes.
It represents a much, much deeper fear. Yeah.
Well, it's about
the whole idea of children free play relates back to the fear that they will lose their sense of agency, their ownership of their learning. And so, yeah, you definitely need to take that into account, but then you give yourself the options to teach them as well.
Because we've all been brought up a certain way as well, right? With certain beliefs, and that's where the fears come from, right? And by being adults, we're able to flex a bit more than children who are just being imprinted, you know, because we, as you say, teachers can play a huge part. We all remember who were our favorite teachers and who we didn't like or disliked and all that, and it's most likely because our learning style was a perfect match with the good teachers, or maybe they were flexible enough to give us, you know, to look at everyone and, you know, get along with most of the students. So
they didn't use the one pattern fits all methodology. And you're right, Nat, about, you know, we've grown up with particular patterns of thinking.
Yep.
And so it might even just be habit that you enact a certain outcome. And examining those, and I know you've spoken about that beautiful book, Atomic Habits, which I've read, you know, and that's just really trying to understand why we do things and what is our motivation.
Yeah, crazy. Teresa's just saying here, so true, a teacher is a believer who understands who the individual is sometimes before the parent sees their strengths. Yeah, and Kerry's another early years teacher as well. She's writing a book on health and wellness. So, and Kim's there, who gave us a bit of information around, you know, children. And I love all the new stuff that's coming around, and you guys being the leaders of the new way we need to think and how we've evolved, because things don't stay the same, right? We discover new ways of being and doing and teaching. And, you know, even if I think of myself as a coach 11 years ago to who I am today, is so different. Yeah. So so how does that what you've just spoken about, how can we practically also implement that into as adults? What are some advice you have for adults around this?
Yes, I think it is a situation. I like the idea of a pause.
Right.
And also, and that's things that I've learned from you. So pause and ask yourself a different question. You know, I know you've spoken about things like perhaps even you've spoken about your relationship with money. You know, so you don't just say, oh no, I can afford it or I can't afford it. You say to yourself, how can I afford it? What are the ways? How can I get to that place where I can afford this thing? And I think it's just adapting your thinking and focusing on what you really want. So what was the fear? What is the goal? What do you really want to see? And if you visualize that, then I have in my book 4 thinking skills, thinking prompters or creativity prompters. And one of them is called the ladder of aspiration. And it's a 4 steps. So, you know, write down the 4 things that you can start doing. What is the first thing you can do today? And then what are the 4 steps that has you get up the ladder and have a look over the wall and get to another place. So it's genuinely having some goal setting for your life, goal setting for your aspirations. And just thinking through those, but putting in place some of the things, and you know, going back to atomic habits, you know, the idea there is make it easy for yourself. So, and you do that as well. You know, you put your running shoes right next to your bed. I've made my working space much more amenable and easy to come and work, to just switch on the computer and to get going. So it's like not just having the goal, but then putting some action in place. And that's what you were also saying, things like action gives you clarity. And that's definitely happened for me. You know, you'd say, like even this interview today, I don't think I would have had the clarity in my mind about, you know, what I believe about children and teachers and learning if I hadn't gone through this process.
Well, if you hadn't gone through also all the classrooms you've taught in the past and education you've received and things you've implemented, go, that worked, oh, that didn't work, you know, so many things. It's only through action that we come to be the expert or gain that crystal clear clarity of what works, what doesn't. And what we're doing then is giving the future teachers or generations the shortcuts that we've had to take 20 or 30 years to get to, right? And that's where the value is. And that's why I think your book is a wonderful shortcut to unpack a lot of wisdom and gold that teachers and parents can use. And what you said there that I really picked up was about asking ourselves multiple different questions to find out what the 3 in between is. Rather than having option 1 or 2, yes, I can do this, no, I can't do that. Well, hang on, there's more. And often when I talk to authors after my seminars and all that kind of stuff, I encourage them to have a chat, because it's just because you can't do this option, that doesn't mean you still can't achieve your goal by taking a bit of a detour via path A to, you know, B and then get to C, rather than going from A to C immediately or whatever it is. That's well, if there's a deep enough desire that you want to do something, you know, there is a way to achieve it, you know, and you just might need to take different route or make some different decisions. And I think that's wonderful. So this book is, how long was this book in your head? Like, how long had you wanted to write it for?
You know, Nat, it's been in I've been researching the book for probably 10 years.
Yeah, wow.
And it's been written in probably 3 or 4 different formats over the years. But when you're writing a book in isolation, as I was, you know, you never have an idea of where it might end up. And, you know, you take it to the first publisher and you get one knockback and you think, oh, I'll just go back in my box, you know, and just, so it's been around with me for a long time. And the reason it's been around with me for a long time is my absolute belief in life is that language and understanding words and understanding concepts gives you such power over life.
Yes.
The more you understand, the more you have the ability to take different perspectives and to see things from a different point of view. And that's the power of parents with their children. You know, when they don't give one prescriptive answer, but they give them different perspectives for thinking. But that can only happen if you have a strong and a rich language and a really good idea of how one thing connects to another.
Yes.
So you know, it's one thing to say to a child, this is a pencil, but then, you know, what is the power of a pencil? What can you do with this thing? And, you know, when you can write words, what can you do? You can send a letter across the universe to the other side of the world. And so connecting, the idea of linking ideas, not just knowing ideas, has always been so close to my heart, to give children that understanding, a conceptual understanding of how the world works.
Yeah.
So it's always been my passion. So I've had to read and find out about the authors and the researchers who've looked at, you know, why is comparison important? Because it's a very good connector. Why is problem solving important? Why is learning language important? Why are gestures important? And the other beauty of early learning and all learning is it's not just about the written word, but it's about drawing, representing things, graphing things, understanding symbols, not just words. So, you know, it's been all of that helps us to unpack and understand the world. So doing it in a way that makes children engaged and makes them love learning has always been at the bottom of this book. So here it is. It's out there. I want everybody to feel confident and have the agility to go from one thing to another, but knowing what they're doing, not just bouncing around with trial and error, but really gaining some expertise around their engagement with children in the classroom every day.
So with the goal of the book is obviously to give this toolbox you've now compiled over the years of your experience and what you've learned from others and researched.
Yes.
And what is it that you want to, aside from selling lots of books and, you know, getting it into as many teachers or parents' hands, what else, you know, are you continuing to consult and all that sort of stuff?
Yes, absolutely. So I work part-time as it is. I'm an education consultant at Independent Schools of Victoria. But, you know, I also have my Kriegler education consultancy hat. Yes. And I admire, there are two amazing mentors in my life. One is Jan Milliken, who I think anyone in early education will know. Another is Jenya Janova, and they've never thought of retiring. And they just, you know, they just spread their pearls of wisdom. They talk with such beauty about education, and so yeah, I think I'd really love to be following in their footsteps and becoming a mentor. So, you know, in my consultancy, there's one-on-one where, you know, you can just chat, or I can work with a team. There's collaboration, which is very, very important. Or if you're an actual education leader in the early years in Australia, I consult for educational leaders as well about compliance and pedagogy.
Wow.
Big word about learning. Yeah.
I know the other day someone had asked you were out and you they asked you if there was a particular program. I can't remember the specifics of it. And I love the fact that you just said, yeah, of course there is, you know, and you had,
that's right.
You hadn't created it, but you had, you know, then you submitted a proposal or something, you know, a day or two later, which is something that I always teach you guys is, you know, say yes, then you're going to work out the how, as long as you know it's in your head, that you
Yes.
can bring it out. Yeah, I love that. I love
That's
that.
quite right. And that was about a really remarkable early education philosophy that comes from Northern Italy, the Reggio Emilia philosophy. Yes. So, you know, it's a string in your bow. Yes. And, you know, if you have something like, you know, I have a broad knowledge, I will say to you straight off, I don't know enough about that. But if I do, you know, I can customize something that fits with your questions. What do you want to know?
Yeah, I love it. So how did you find the process of writing your book, you know, with our assistance and the 48-hour author system and model? You know, was I a good teacher?
It was terrible. No. Honestly, I cannot even begin to quantify how much I've received from working with you guys. So way beyond the writing of the book, you know, unquantifiable, amazing gifts is how I would say it. And not the least of which that I knew that every word that I was writing was going to be published because you had the process. But just your collective wisdom and I've honestly, the generosity with how you share, you know, so you will say, this is what you've got to do. I'm doing that right now with you and to you, but you've got to do this as well. So you're never trying to obfuscate or hide the process behind what you're doing. And I think just that absolute authenticity has been fantastic. And I mean, I often tell you that it's had an impact on my family as well.
Yeah.
Because, you know, when I first started talking to my husband about, oh, God, this amazing ultimate 48-hour author people. And he's like, Lil, it's a scam. You know, everyone on Facebook's a scam. I'm like, no, really, you know, and they're Australian and they're fantastic. But over time, on our little conversations, because he's such a sounding board, he's amazing. Oh, really? Oh, my goodness. Oh, you learned that. You know, that fits with what I read about. And slowly but surely, even his respect for the company has grown so much. I don't know. I mean, one of the things that happened was after Nat's amazing masterclass about your relationship with money, I said to him, you know, Nat says, like, you actually deserve these things and you should get them. And, you know, he went and bought a new car, a beautiful new Lexus, which was white, and he changed it to bright yellow.
I remember that.
Just because, you know, in life, if you really want something, you know, you need to just go for it. And whereas before he might have, oh no, you know, I don't, you know, we don't need that. It was just, let's go, let's do something absolutely crazy. And he loves it.
Yeah. I love it. There's a ripple effect.
Experience and the whole team. I mean, Stuart's wisdom, his experience in the marketing, his way of checking your phrases and your words and your sexy titles and everything. Amazing. And the team, I can't speak more highly of Lindy and Vivi and Julie. You know, at every juncture, they've just been there. Even when I opened my book for the first time and all the photographs were out of focus. I was running out to work and I thought, this is shocking. I sent them an email, you know, about all my photos out of focus. When I got home that night, my book was perfect, absolutely perfect, but my eyesight in the morning hadn't woken up enough to see properly. So they got me through all these traumas. And yeah, I could not be happier.
It is a challenging journey, but we're so super proud of what our authors achieve, and that's the thing that we keep going. It's like, when we're going to retire, we're not, like, you know, you just do this as long as you can because it's so fulfilling, just like your stuff is for you, right? Yes. So where can people get your book, because they're waiting for the link? Is it
all right, so probably the easiest place to get it is off my website.
Yes.
So it's www.kriegler-education.com.
And in case you've been wondering, guys, it's been right behind her on that poster.
Yes.
It's been right behind her at the bottom. There you go, Kriegler -education.com.
Yeah.
I was wondering if it was there, but yeah, I've been
It's
watching
right
it.
here.
Yeah.
And if you get my so you can get the book, and on the website you can also have a look and see the different consultancy opportunities, or just write to me. I love hearing from teachers. So that's just it's a Lili-Ann at krieglereducation.com. Just write to me. I'd love to hear your own experiences and stories of working with young children, and what your fantastic new creative solutions are going to be in life.
I love it. And Lindy, I can see she's put up the link directly onto the live stream.
Thank you, Lindy.
If you're not watching this via live stream, I'm sure you can look on the video, or we've spelt it out. So anyone, because this is going to be obviously shared in a few different spots, so people can get some of the words of wisdom you've shared with us today. I really, really appreciate it. If you guys are also in the space of writing a book, go to our website, and it's simply writeabook.com.au, which is where you'll find more information. And we're so excited. We're only 1 week off the next retreat. So in about half an hour, I'm going to be preparing those authors, and I just can't wait to see where you are in 6 to 12 months time, because your book literally came off the press. Last week were the bulk books that got delivered at your house. So
not even a week ago. So I'm in the process of packing them all up.
Yeah, she's in the process of actually, like, she's so excited. She's signing everything and doing all that. So if you want a signed copy, you go directly to Lili-Ann, but obviously the book's also available in all your good, amazing online retailing stores. So thank you so much, Lili-Ann. It's been really a pleasure to have you part of our community, our authors. You're also writing your second book soon. Yes, which
very soon. Yes, and it's going to be called Think and Link Out Loud for Parents.
I love it. So that's your little teaser of that. She's already committed to her second publishing project with us. We'll be working with her. So, and I love seeing and catching